All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to go right into financial aid. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Richard Myung from AGM Institute. I do want to let you guys know that this is a pre-recorded version, so we won't have a live Q&A, but Mr. Richard Myung is on our YouTube chat right now. So if you guys have questions during his seminar, he will answer those questions for you through the YouTube chat. So feel free to ask your questions about financial aid. I want to introduce who Mr. Richard Myung is from AGM Institute. He is the president and CEO. He's senior college financial aid specialist, former Wachovia Bank vice president and financial planner, and he has written over 1,200 columns as a college financial aid columnist. So without further ado, he's going to be talking about maximum college grant and scholarship with college admission planning. Please listen to Mr. Richard Myung.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2023 College Expo. My name is Richard Myung, and I represent Asian Institute. Today, we are going to discuss about how to maximize college financial aid, and also especially grant and scholarship, and also associated with college admission, how we can make ourselves to successful, especially for those areas. And I'd like to share some screens so that actually we could have a better understanding about what I'm currently presenting. So please look at this. We will discuss about maximum college grant and scholarship with the college admission planning. So we will mainly discuss about three areas. So, first one is what is college financial aid? And second one is college financial aid in important updates. This is critically important portion. And also importance of college financial aid planning. Pre-planning always leads you to become successful. What could be the updates on college financial aid? Especially what is college financial aid understanding point of view is critically important. So we will discuss about eligibilities first. Eligibility is for the status of the students who holds a permanent residency or U.S. citizenship would be okay. And GPA must be at least 2.0 out of 4.0 scale. And international students, and also undocumented or DACA students, in which state you reside. And by the way, their benefits has been extended a little bit more. Okay. So even international students, there are more than 250 schools offering for international students based on need basis financial aid. School has a different cost of attendance, including tuition, room and board, book cost, or transportation, and fees and personal expenses. So out of total cost of attendance, now there's no longer the apply expected family contribution amount. Now they have an updated the student aid index table, which is a measurement that the student family should be responsible to cover up to a certain level of the total cost of attendance. So which is similar to the understanding of like deductible of the insurance, right? So SAI means a student aid index. So there are still federal methodologies and institutional and consensus methodologies based on the which schools you're applying for. So the difference would be financial need amount. Financial need amount is the maximum targeted financial aid amount. However, the most important thing is now financial need amount is a maximum target. So if the financial need amount is reduced, then actually you will receive the reduced financial aid based on the school's matching percent, right? So now the financial need amount is calculated based on the kind of basic understanding of cost of attendance deducted by student aid index amount, and then they will also exclude financial assistance from non-financial sources, such as if your parents and actually answer the on college application, like they are able to cover support up to $10,000, and they will definitely reduce $10,000, financial need amount. So you have to really strategize, how to decide which amount you are going to able to support, but it should be you will common sense amount. Let's say if you generates $100,000 a year in household income, then you would be able to only support $3,000, $5,000, and school is not going to accept that. So it should be making sense. All right, then actually this is important table, college financial aid procedures, right? And not like the last years, and actually the U.S. government, they decide to actually extend about a couple of more month time to finalize or start filing FAFSA. So instead of October the 1st, and they will look for definitely the December the 1st or in the middle of December. Then they didn't announce it, but they will definitely announce it with a confirmation in October time. The problem here we have is the schools offering like a 20, 30, or 50, $60,000 in need-basis grants, such as private schools. And actually they will definitely need to receive your financial data for their early admission and early admission process. So they might ask you to file CSS profile, which is offered by the College Board. College Scholarship Service profile is a CSS profile, and starting from maybe October the 1st. So has not been confirmed, especially what time would that be. Most important time, the deadline is in the school's priority deadline. So each school has a different priority deadline. So you have to be prepared for those preparations, okay? And the FAFSA application and state deadlines. And actually, since the next year's FAFSA, all this format has not been released yet, and I have to refer to the last year's, like 2023 and 2024, and FAFSA application. So once we receive it, you will see the each state deadlines in the EduC all here, right? So definitely we have to get focused on. So additional applications usually the school is looking for is a CSS profile, College Scholarship Service profile offered by the College Board, and which is combined more than maybe 360 questionnaires, and definitely according to the current status of your income, and maybe from only individual or business incomes and or any property incomes, and associated with a lot of tax returns. So you have to be really careful when you providing submit this data, because once you submit it, there are a lot of limitations and actually to make any corrections for that. So even one mistake, could cost you maybe 10 to 20,000 or easily, or $30,000, $40,000, or even non-financial aid offered. So requirements of financial aid. First of all, everybody should submit free applications for federal student aid, the FAFSA application. This is for free. So anyone try to do the service for this, with any charges would be illegal. So this is a free application. Anyone could submit it. And then CSS profile is offered by the College Board. But the reason they ask for the CSS profile is because the FAFSA application does not provide enough data to evaluate your financial strengths or evaluations. And IDOC system is institutional documentation service, and IDOC is used for verification. So some schools, they are member of IDOC. So you can actually submit IDOC information for several schools, but any schools are not a member of IDOC, then you have to submit all your verification documents directly to the school. And institutional financial aid application, this is really important part because the new FAFSA actually will include only about 36 questionnaires, the very limited questionnaires, and everything is going through like IRS DLT method, direct transfer. Even the parent could not figure out which informations were transferred. And then actually the school has very limited data received from the government. So actually, they will definitely focus on this institutional, their own financial aid applications mostly, if they have. So income verification and follow-up. So no matter what information they submitted, will not be accountable. It must be verifiable. So you have to submit all those data, right? And also expense verification, of course, it is important thing. Let's say your income is only $40,000 a year. Yeah, by the way, you are spending $5,000 or $6,000 a month. Do you think does it make sense? It does not make any sense, right? So school will convert those discrepancies as a non-taxable income, and your SAI will be increased by more than what you could expect, where such income is in actually happening. Negotiations would be critically important part, because even though the school offers you financial aid the package, but those are not, usually about 50% of them are not exactly the same as what they are paying for. So you have to really be able to identify what the problems are so that we could take next steps for appealing process. Okay, second thing is college financial aid important updates, right? This is a very huge changes in the past, and also they are reducing the number of questions, but which means you think it would be much easier. Of course not, because you don't even know what kind of internal detailed data will be transferred to the school or to the government, right? So from 108 questionnaire down to 36 questionnaire, unfortunately, because you are applying for need-based financial aid, which will be need-blind policy, would not impact your admission process, so that no one is able to see the submitted data until they decide to select you, to give you an admission. So you don't even know which information was transferred in what level or what degree of, impactful the evaluation point, right? So EFC2 standard, expected family contribution is they are calculating your liability portion based on the family basis. But now student aid index is more like the individual base, which will refer to the index table. They eliminated the asset allowances and changed it to income protection allowance as well. And expanding Pell Grant eligibilities, of course, because of your financial need amount, and SAI has been increased automatically based on the new formula. Your eligibility will be much less portion, less probability, or less offers than the last year, even though you hold the same the income and asset, right? And actually, there's a great point, because a certain point of the level of income lower than $60,000, and actually even you have a negative SAI. So you would be able to receive those benefits, but most of the families whose income is over $60,000 this year will definitely, their financial aid will be minimum of $3,000 less reduced financial aid. Even if you have two siblings that are applying to the college at the same time, and those colleges are utilizing applying institutional methodologies, and actually a minimum of $7,500 a year, you have to pay more. Those financial aid are reduced unless you provide all the pre-planning in advance. So additional changes to financial aid rules and formula, I'll discuss about it, okay? So now, let's take a look at it. College financial aid updates. Okay, first, eliminated questions, as we mentioned about, they don't even consider about drug convictions. You see, where they used to have such a supplemental questionnaires, once you committed for any drugs or any crimes or something like that, but they don't even ask. So anyone who were not eligible to receive Pell Grant due to such a previous record, but they are now eligible. And also, they don't even ask you for selective service, right? Selective service is really important thing for the national, the security duties for young guys. However, now no longer they are not asking for security selective service, but which doesn't mean that actually they eliminated your registration for selective service between age 18 and 25. You have to go to postal office and you have to file it. Before age 25, which would be critically important thing, okay, to be qualifiable for financial aid. So EFC to SAI, right? It totally different methodologies to evaluate your liability of the portion. So eliminating asset allowance changes, this is very important thing as you see. Okay. Now they accommodated like adjusted net worth amount to calculate your SAI. So net worth up to $135,000, including your like a home or something like that, like primary homes or business net worth or something. And then they net worth times 40% is calculated, targeted, adjusted net worth to calculate your SAI. But net worth between $135,001 and $41,000, and actually they'll initially impose your net worth, adjusted net worth amount for 54,000 plus any exceeding amount of 50%, right? And as you see that here, $410,000 to $680,000, and actually they will apply $191,000. Let's say $191,000 itself is if they apply for your income, is more than $60,000, and they apply about 5.64% of your SAI minimum plus a 60% amount over $410,000. Usually, most of families they applied by these numbers, right? That is a big problem, which means that actually, even though they announce that the Pell Grant and qualifiable students has been increased, but your SAI has been increased more, then you will get less financial aid, definitely. That was over 680,000, of course, you see, 353,000. Yeah, this is a really minimum of $20,000 or $25,000 in SAI liabilities has been increased, okay? So now the expanding Pell Grant eligibilities, but reduced benefits in fact, right? And additional changes to financial aid rules and formula, of course, as you see. Okay, on tax income and benefits, of course, deductions and all this, just to refer to this screen after this College Expo by replaying it, so you will get understood, right? So the third one is the importance of college financial aid planning. Of course, this is a critically important application deadline and planning for SAI, admission rate changes, those are critically important part. So admission process is a critical part you need to understand how you can improve your the admission rate, which would directly impact financial aid amount because the school decide to have you decide to admit you as a preferred student to register, they have a tendency more than what they are supposed to give you financial aid. So it is an important thing. So you have to influence between admission and financial aid data. You have to understand college admission rate changes. You'd better have a better insight. And importance of application and quest bridge, usually pros and cons, we need to discuss about, right? So now, college admission and financial aid, influences, right? Actually, you can apply financial aid process, it does not influence college admission decision, but college admission decision, if you have categorized as the preferred student to register, of course, financial aid amount could be improved or, is a better package, right? So it will definitely give kind of influence, right? Advantages, if you utilize financial aid process to maximize your college admission decision, yes, you can do it. because now next year, instead of the limiting the number of colleges you apply for up to 10 schools, but they will allow you up to 20 schools. So you have to really batch. You have to strategize, which school you apply for. So they would not be able to see all your submitted financial data until they decide your admission, but they will be able to see the list of the schools and you apply for. So why don't you strategize those combinations to actually they compete each other, okay? Which will definitely bring you more chance to maximize your financial aid. And college admission also, if you improve your profile and if you make sure yourself need to meet each applying school's admission factors, to evaluate you much better positions, definitely they will have a tendency to give you more financial aid, right? So now, key to success is student profile building is critically important because I'm going to share with you some portion of the admission factors so that you can see exactly what it is. Even financial aid preparation, of course, with no optimistic or optimized data, how could you expect for the better financial aid, right? Always the input information must be very clean and optimized, right? By preparation in advance, right? So preparation means that you should have a capability to understand the financial aid formula. Mostly the student family, they don't have it. So as you see, the class of 2022 until 2027 admission rate, actually, the most of people, let's make an example of like Johns Hopkins here, okay? The class of 2022, the admission rate was 10%, but 2027 has been down to 6%. So you might think, oh, there is only 4% less. Of course not. You have to really evaluate this point as a difference is of 4%, right? 4 over 10%, which means the admission rate has been decreased by 40% for the last 5 years. This is a scary factor, which means that we have more the millennial baby boomer generations. So because which means that any applicants applying for Johns Hopkins, you have the same quality, the competitors 40% more. You have to really think about it. So even most of the people, they are focusing on the scores, so such as SATs and GPAs only, they will fail definitely, because I will mention about some admission factors and also college application details by following the slides. So QuestBridge, do you know the exactly real details like eligibilities, academic achievement, financial criteria, which is very important thing. Household income is less than $65,000 a year, or household for 4 with a minimal assets, right? Most important part is this. Problems, okay? Problem is it becomes need aware. Need aware means that whatever your financial data will be disclosed. And then actually the school has a tendency to admit students who needs less financial need. Even though you got a qualification of college, the QuestBridge, you were admitted, right? And a finalist. However, during the matching process, school has a tendency to choose only need-aware basis. So actually, you might lose. So if you are able to admit it to their schools, then it's much better. You could have a financial aid package, rather than a QuestBridge, because QuestBridge could, give you a lot of disadvantages through the admission process based on the need-aware basis. You have to understand it. So now, importance of research and leadership these days, of course, it is the first step is understanding admission process first, and then building student profiles, your own profiles. And college selection would be critically important too. So it must be socially impactful and personal. You have to bring up more personal qualifications. Now, to give you a better understanding, okay, admission process are composed of 3 different areas, okay? First one is academy index. Second one is extracurricular activity areas. And number 3 is personal qualification. Academy index, you know what it is, like all numbers, scores, right? And extracurricular activities, why they are asking for is to measure whether or not you got a comprehensive areas, with no biased education. That is very important thing. Personal qualification is, what kind of achievement record do you have, out of those activities, and what kind of personal influence you got, and how you could contribute yourself as a socially impactful areas, how much you can contribute to the school, how much value you have. Those are the personal qualification. That is the equally important area like academy index, maybe more. But most of people, they don't know. They try to do a lot of activities like based on the checklist. You know what checklist means? Oh, you did it? Oh, he did it too. Kind of, and you have to really be distinguished, kind of impactful person. So college admission factors, as you see, then you could see about 17 different areas, you see. And then these informations are listed on a college application. Then college application is the most important part for your admission process, right? So we can take a look at for each colleges. Out of those important factors, and very important admission factors like will be around 40-50%. Important area is 30-40%. And if you have both the same tied numbers, and actually they could consider the rest of that. So each school has a different admission factor, which means that here, University of Chicago and Northwestern, if you submit the application with the same information in the same order, right, then what happens? And University of Chicago and Northwestern, their evaluation point is almost reversed, right? So University of Chicago, they look at character, personal qualities, achievement record and talents, and also rigorously, like AP scores or something, subject casts, they are more valuable. But they look at standardized test scores, SAT, ACTs, you see, because most applicants, right, they have almost the same range, like ACT scores like 35, 36, or SAT like more than 5,500 and 50, something like that. So they believe that actually they look at more of extracurricular activities and personal qualification areas, right? Where Northwestern has more weight on, academic, the index and process in this area, right? So you should make your application different and for each different schools, right? Okay, now, what is the taxonomy? There are so many students applying at the same time. Each admission counselors, they could review in between 18 to 23 applications a day. And there are only about maximum around 30 admission counselors, for large schools, big schools, every school. So they could spend about 7 to 8 minutes on average to evaluate the student's application. So they have a first read and second read and third read. So they could select maybe around 25,000 applications, for the season. So there are more than 140,000 the student applications UCLA received, and actually will be picked up only about maybe 25,000. So unless your application is placed on a admission counselor's tray, like there's no use to submit any extra or additional information at all. You have to know that. So the computer, they convert all your information to the point system. And as an example, like if your GPA, 4.0 scale, like 3.7 to 3.84, you get 9 points or something like that. If you took more than 5 APs, that is a 7-point maximum. Even though you took a 15, but your GPA has dropped down due to so much, like a study load, and actually you get disadvantages, right? So core course load, like as long as you took a core course more than 5 each year, then actually you get the maximum point. But 1 point difference will make a 7,000 to 8,000 difference in pass or fail. So now, if your grade is more currently about 11th grade or rising senior, it's too late to actually improve your academic index areas, right? So here's a non-academy achievement rating. Like if you hold a national or international level achievement for more areas, you're gonna get 5 points. And state or regional achievement, 3 or more areas, you're gonna have a 4 point. Significant at your level in 2 areas, which is leadership and research. The school, they don't expect you to they get a Nobel Prize, neither the graduate school thesis, right? Because you didn't even graduate high school yet, right? Your maximum current diploma is a middle school diploma, right? So they want to see who you are in the research or, the leadership areas, right? But if you get 3 points and look at this, like a personal quality rating, even clear evidence of excellent interpersonal qualities, you're going to get 4 points. So good. If you combine together, it's a 7 point. You know how seriously impact these 7 points? This is the area now you still have a time to additionally get, right? For the maximum successful result of the college admission process, right? So how about recommendation? Which words are included? Will make a huge differences. Like one of our very best this year, or in an exceptional group of seniors, and you're going to get a 5 point. And strongly recommended, or like enthusiastically recommended, you're going to get a 4 points. Kind of that. Even the essay is very important thing, but make sure if you are currently asking maybe one of the associates in private academies, like each person is taking control of maybe 7 to maybe 15 students at a time. And also if they're not a real professional, if they are maybe graduate school, or college students, that is a huge problem because, when you wind up or add additional schools after all the admission result, in around December the 18th or December the 15th, you see, they are also taking final exam. So they don't have enough time to give you the enough efforts to improve your essay. So what happens if they refer to one student's essay to another, by similar in a writing style, you will be automatically selected and dropped out of the admission counselor's tray. You have to be very careful. Okay, so that is the reason why many students, they receive that it is your essay the same, similar to someone else's or something. Can you verify something like that? Okay, and that is a plagiarism. So it is really important thing to identify yourself and to take the right, essay package. And this is the education section. This is a common application. If you see education and go down there, then you will see honors, and you will see there are 5 sections that you need to additionally record what kind of achievement record you have, and on what level: school, state, regional, and national, international. That is the reason why actually your application will be converted to the point system. You see, this is the evidence, right? So leadership and research achievement, this is the actual portion, the copy of Georgia Tech, this year. And if you see the bottom of this page, our advice for this portion of the application, okay, this is not a recommendation. This is an advice. They say, do not overlook research, internship, family responsibilities, etc., as important contribution. So you have to be very careful about this area. So must be socially impactful. So various research areas. If you come to my website, the agminstitute.org, agminstitute.org, you will see the supported by our AGRP programs and supported by more than 750 the Ivy School grads and PhDs in all the individual mentorships. So individual area of research or even AI research. And actually, we have a program to target for ISEF and also like OJAS and it's the MIT kind of thing competitions. And it takes, but anyway, this program requires at least 1.5 years to start with, okay? Because you have to be able to become selected in a local college fair. Then they will recommend you to ISEF, something like that. So we do have a kind of very advanced program. So just refer to this website. And also research with artificial intelligence, we have a couple of, cohort program and individual. Most important thing is to improve prove your proven record, and it must be publicized. We have a publication, and our mentor helps you to publicize all your research in environments. Yeah, socially impactful too. Of course, if you see, maybe some of you received our kind of the postcard in the past, but this is all about, okay? You need to stand out for college with advanced research. That could be a key to success in college admission too, and as well as financial aid. So now maximizing college financial aid is, calculation factor is important thing. As you see, all the red colors are, like disadvantages. And also financial aid decreasing factors, of course, as I told you. But I don't have enough time actually to explain individually, all things. If you have any questions, you can just reach me at the phone numbers I'm going to give you at the end of this slide. Okay. So net price calculator for each schools, and please, okay, this is just a reference, okay? In the school has a tendency to play with this tool as a marketing. They don't calculate exact your net price at all, because if your net price becomes a higher net price means you're out of pocket money, right? And then you are not going to apply for that school. So school has disadvantages. They use disclaimer, then actually this may change later. This would not be the actual factor. It may be changeable, something like that. So, you have to be very cautious. So both planning for both college financial and college admission together would be a critically important thing. So as a result of, conclusion, and no preparation for financial aid is exactly higher financial aid failure rate. Okay, so preparation for college financial aid and college admission in advance would be critically important. Please try to start it as soon as you become 9th grade, at least. So problems of early admissions, okay. As you see, let me see. Here, early decision and early action, and also timing is an essence and issue. And the financial aid effects and lack of preparations and equal but not equal. Okay, I will explain you when you face these situations and contact me, because we don't have enough time for explaining in detail today. So paradigm shift needed. You know why? Because most of people do not ask for help from non-professional licensed person because they need to they must have a license to understand internal taxation, and also they must have the license to discuss with, even you have a 401k or IRA or TSP for like a 403bs or any pension plans, that they don't even have a license and they don't even understand. So it could be a poisonous. So, or sometimes, my child is speaking English perfect, so he will take care of it. Of course not. They don't have even understanding about terminologies. And focusing on financial, that application submission. Okay, I submitted the application, so I'm done. And so that school is going to, take care of all my financial needs. Of course not. They have a tendency to select a better student with less financial aid, right? Because they want to maximize their efficiencies. And also, our income is too high? Of course not. Even you have $350,000 in holding a business, and you can set up your corporate trust internally. You can even deduct up to what, $200,000, to the corporate trust, corporate benefit program for your own benefit. Then you can save a lot of taxes, and you can even put down your improve your eligibility for the college financial aid. Your income is very low, so I'll be all right? Of course not. If the school has under-awarded situation or mis-awarded situation, if you have under-awarded, even though you have a low income, if they don't adjust it, you'll be in big trouble. So you have to really, come up with all the strategies. So college application marked with no financial need. You see, I told you that financial need before equals to cost of attendance minus SAI minus non-federal financial sources. Like if you don't need any financial aid on your application, they will think you can cover a whole thing. So they are not going to give you any award, for the first year. So now, I just gave you just some factors and heads up and some updates about this year's financial aid process. If you have any questions, please take a picture of this contact information and let me know. Hope for the best. Thank you.